The supreme mathematics and alphabets is like a language that we're learning, like, you know. So when you learn that language, you're supposed to use that language to decode the 120 lessons. The 120 lessons is the foundation of the mathematics is the real foundation of what makes us 5%ers. But the significance of the 120 lessons is the father, the man who started this nation, you know, who born the nation from mentally from the start. He was a man that, you know, after coming back from the Korean War in the end of the 50s, you know, he was in Harlem. He's originally from Virginia, Dansville, Virginia. You feel me? He moved to New York. Then he got in the Korean War, and when he came back, the woman he was dealing with was in the Nation of Islam. Her name was Dora. Yeah, and basically he was like, okay, let me, you know, see what this is saying. And when you go into the Nation of Islam at that time, we're talking about the 60s and stuff. This is like when Malcolm X is the minister in Harlem and stuff, and this is like the real black revolutionary times in the 60s and shit. You got the Black Panthers around, the Nation of Islam around, you have bare just factions and shit going on, black liberation movement, all this type of stuff going on. So during the process of this, the father, Clarence Smith, who wasn't being referred to as a father at this time, went into the nation, right? The Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. But the thing about the Nation of Islam was the knowledge was, they're dealing with the 120 lessons.
Well, it was called Supreme
Oh, yeah,
Wisdom.
no, pardon yourself. Yeah, pardon yourself. It was called Supreme Wisdom. The Supreme Wisdom lessons. And originally there's like more than 120 lessons in it. Like 144 or something like that. But the point is...
Even more than that. But with the father, Allah, we call him Allah. He saw in those lessons something that we should learn. And that he didn't see it the same way that the Muslims were teaching it. Right, so he took it, you know,
to the streets.
And from the streets he taught it to the babies. And he born, you know, built with the first 9 born. He made his first 9 born in Mecca, and then he had 14 born in Medina, which is Brooklyn. And then, you know, and from that, they started a nation, because those brothers went out and they started teaching.
And these are all young people too, like, you know, like a lot of these, there was elders in the time, but like, you know, a lot of the father's whole thing was about sparking the youth, like, you know, real young brothers and stuff. So, see, at the time, the nation, like, you know, you had to wear a suit. You ever see Malcolm X? How he looks? He's real sturdy, like he's real clean, hair cut, like super clean, like everything's just fresh, did up. You know what I'm saying? So to be in the Nation of Islam, there's a lot of rules that you had to abide by. Like, you know, there's no gambling, no smoking, no this or man like me who's balling up this weed right now.
I'm not even showing that.
They be like, yo, nah. You feel me? It was, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
The father now, you know.
Yeah, he was a street man also.
So he's like, yo, I'm with this knowledge, you know.
But I'm not with...
Like, they didn't want you to wear shorts. Like, it was real strict.
Yeah, like...
Right.
Like, it was real strict. And the youth at the time, in the 60s, this is a real rebellious time. Like, you know? Niggas in the streets ain't really trying to hear that, you know? So the father brought the knowledge to the streets in a way where it was compatible with some of the people that really, really needed it. Like, some of the niggas who are... You know what I'm saying? They're not ready to just go to the mosque and start wearing suits and stuff, but they really need this knowledge and stuff.
Right.
He brought it in a form. And another thing is too, the way the Nation of Islam works is they would have the mosque, and you go to the mosque and you have to learn from the ministers and stuff. And the ministers were usually the ones that are having the lessons and building on the lessons and speaking, and the people that come in there listen, and then they'll do other meetings and build on the lessons or whatever. But I'm not trying to say it was like church.
No, actually, it was. It was similar to church.
It's like, you know,
it was similar to church. And then,
I don't want to devalue it by relating it to a church, but it's because the knowledge is more supreme.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's the same kind of setup where you're listening to a man speaking from these texts. So with so Malcolm X would have his supreme wisdom lessons, and he'll be building on those lessons. So when you see videos and things of Malcolm X and he's building because he studied these lessons, and he's building on the lessons to the people who will come.
Right.
Now, what the father, those lessons, you have to be a minister to break down those lessons. I'm not saying
you got to go through different processes, stages.
It wasn't like they're gonna go to the youth in the street and be like, "Here's the lessons."
Right.
The youth would have to come in with his family and hear the whatever. So the thing that the father did is, he out of those supreme wisdom lessons, he took the 120 lessons and developed this system, the mathematics, a simple way of, you know what I mean, breaking down certain principles in life. Easy way to teach the youth. And with the mathematics and alphabets, like once you understand that, a young person can go through these lessons and draw up the understanding. So he was taking the stuff that like the ministers and the Nation of Islam was dealing with, and then bringing it to like niggas like in the streets, you know, like yo here, boom boom boom, and building with them like yo the black man's God, this is science, boom boom. With them, like I talk about literally like in the gambling den, like he's in the gambling. You know what I mean? Correct me if I'm lying.
So yeah, he was definitely now the Nation of Islam, they were in the streets as well, but at the same time they weren't deep in the streets. And then a lot of the knuckleheads, brothers that might be like you and me, who might be the ones who might decide to smoke some weed, go to parties, and
people getting lit,
and might have been overlooked because it was like, oh, those people they're not trying to clean themselves up, or they're not trying to have the structure of that way. So what Allah did was he brought it to the streets to those people and gave them something to aspire to, something to lift themselves up. Who's going to teach them? Who's going to teach us who don't want? May not want to dress up. You may not want to look like a nun every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? You may not want to, you know, do certain things that the monster's doing. So we say no. We're gonna I'm gonna take it to so that you can understand. So you can have this for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah.
But it was based on the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, or even going further, like the teachings of W.D. Fard. But Fard, this is a knowledge that was ancient, that came even before him. And the way the father drew it up was like, yo, the black man is God, and that we have to have this knowledge. And he gave it to us in a form that we can accept it, as opposed to us having to go somewhere and, you know, become Muslims to learn this knowledge.
You know, it's more universal. So, like God is saying, and to touch on something he just brought up real quickly, you see, the Supreme Wisdom Lessons, that document, what we build on, right? You can date that back to 1933 to 1934. And during those 2 years, that's the creation of it. Because you had a man named Elijah Muhammad. Who's familiar with Elijah Muhammad?
You're not familiar with Elijah? Are you familiar with Malcolm X?
Okay, this is the beauty.
Malcolm X, the person who taught Malcolm X is a man named Elijah Muhammad.
Malcolm X is
you know who Muhammad Ali is? Yeah. The man who taught Muhammad Ali was Elijah Muhammad. Okay. You know who Farrakhan is, right? Louis Farrakhan is. The man who taught Louis Farrakhan is Elijah Muhammad.
This is Elijah Muhammad. This is the beauty of the internet. So I'm gonna bring it around. We've seen this man's picture. Yeah. This is Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Right. This is the person who founded the Nation of Islam.
Right. Well, Fard is the one who taught him.
Yes.
Now, Fard taught Elijah Muhammad all the science of the distances of the planets and the mass of the earth and the water and everything. He taught Elijah Muhammad this, and Elijah Muhammad in turn looked at Fard as being the highest being, Allah.
Because basically, Fard isn't from America. He came from the Far East. So this is a man that came from the Far East, and with the specific purpose of teaching the black man about himself. So he came to Detroit, and he posed as a silk seller, going door to door, like, beast, like, yo, trying to buy some of these silks, these garments from the East. Black people like, you know, black people like nice stuff. They be like, oh, you got some silks? You got it for the low? Okay, what's up? And then he'll come into your crib and be like, then just start building. And you started getting known in the area, this guy from the East that's building whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? It gets deep, like there's an FBI file on the man, they're looking for the whatever, like, you know, like he was, anyways, that's the next part of the story. But anyways, he's building with these people now and going around in Detroit, and he's starting to, after he's doing this for a while, he starts to get a following and shit, right? Now when he gets his following, one of the people at one of these meetings now is a young Elijah Muhammad. And then the way the story goes is that he must have heard the man building. And remember, this guy's coming and building on some sciences like, yo, the original people, the planet, and did this, and this time, this is what black people are fiending to hear. You know what I'm saying? So people are just gravitating towards this truth. You feel me? And basically, the science goes, a younger Elijah Muhammad was here and was there witnessing Fard build, and after the build, you know, like you see when there's like a guest speaker or something shit, and then like after he's done, like people have a 1-2 moments with him as whatever. So it's like after the thing or whatever, Elijah must have went up to him. He's like, I know who you are, because he heard him and he's just like, yo, like. There's no mystery, God, based on what you're saying. Then you must be him. Like, this is God in the flesh, basically. Like, he came to that realization, and he was like, yo, alright. He's like, alright, come, I'm gonna build. So basically, for 3 years, they were building back and forth and building. He was a student.
Yeah, Elijah was the Fard student.
And at the time, they're still building this community thing in Detroit, because it's not like he's only building with Elijah, and it's not like that's the only thing going on. So this community is building around in these times. So with that being said, now after that 3-year period, Fard gave Elijah Muhammad like an examination, because basically he is like, yo, you're gonna have to continue on the mission. The way it goes is like, you know, he came over here as like the knowledge is supposed to be passed to the black man, and you know, Fard was a really light guy. He's like,
yeah, he was a very fair-skinned
man, like, you know, look white almost, you know. So he passed it to Elijah, passed the knowledge to Elijah. After those 3 years, he gave him like an examination. He just sat down like how we were sitting down, and I'd be like, if I'm Fard and this is Elijah, I'd be like, who is the original man? And Elijah was like, damn, I've been building with this guy for 3 years. Wow, what goes into his mind? He's like, the original man is an Asiatic black man, the maker, owner, king of the planet Earth, father of civilization. Fard's like, who's the colored man? Right. And then Elijah's like, I've been building with this guy for 3 years now. What do I know? He's like, colored man. Oh,
it was a test, basically.
He's like, the Caucasian white man. Yakub's graphed the devil of the planet Earth. As far as like.
But I want to, add on with you. What you're saying is that those lessons, the way that Elijah originally answered them, he didn't answer them the way that we may have them. So Allah, Father, he changed them. He added some things. Yeah. And he took some things out. Like he might have, instead of saying that the white man is the skunk of the planet Earth, which was originally what was said, he said he took that out. Instead of it being the skunk of the planet Earth, he just said the colored man is a Caucasian white man, or Yakub's grafted devils of the planet Earth.
True indeed. So so basically what he's saying is like after that examination process, the questions and the answers were recorded. And then basically a short time after that, Fard left. He disappeared.
But also, now he taught Elijah, but he also taught some other students. Who taught and asked them those same questions. And just that Elijah was the one who took it and carried it out and went and built the nation with it.
True indeed.
He built the nation with. Whereas the other students, they didn't really build like that. They just, they took it, examined it, and they might have even answered it more correctly than Elijah. But
what was his name? Fard.
Master Fard, or Wallace D. Fard, or W.F. Muhammad Wallace Fard. W.D. Fard is his name. Yeah, so F-A-R-D.
He's referred to as Master Fard.
Fard.
Yeah, Master Fard, Farad. You know what I mean? There's like
there's different variations of his name.
You know
what I'm saying? They also refer to him as W.F. Muhammad. But he was a teacher. He was their teacher. Okay. And he
taught Elijah.
Yeah, he taught Elijah.
And from them building, that's what you would get. The Supreme Wisdom Lessons is literally like the recorded version of that examination that Fard gave Elijah after studying for years.
Right.
From those lessons, Elijah starts continuing to build up the nation, That's like, remember, we're talking about 1933 to 1934. These are around the same time Selassie's being coordinated. There's a lot of shit going on in the world, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what
Actually, it was like 1930 when he started teaching from like in the early 30s, like 1930. Then, but he left in 1934.
Yeah,
right, he left in 34.
Yeah.
What happened to him after he left?
What happened to who after he left?
Fard.
They said he disappeared. He wasn't seen. Now that's where some things become a little bit mysterious, because some people say that he went to the mother plane and.
Oh no, that's some. I don't even want to confuse y'all with that. That's some bullshit. I don't want to, because they don't even.
Right.
No.
INFMEGA did this.